Hi, welcome to the PianoTales Podcast. My name is Amelia Fong, and I am excited to introduce my guest today, Risha Allen. So Risha is a K-5 music teacher, and I actually found her on TikTok. She has a really unique way of engaging her students by using songwriting, storytelling, to really get them not to just have fun with music, but also to learn it in a unique way. I'd love to introduce my guest, Risha Allen.
So my name is Risha Allen, and I am from southeastern Kentucky, a town called Corbin, Kentucky. I've been playing the piano since I was 7 years old. I'm 41 now. And I come from a family of musicians, excellent singers, and quite a few pianists as well. So I was surrounded by music and really just wanted to emulate all of my family and stuff. But I played by ear when I was little. And then it was kind of hard for me to learn, but I did get in lessons and stayed in lessons growing up. Here I am teaching music in Minot, North Dakota now.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long have you been teaching music?
I've only been teaching music for 2 years. So I was a high school English teacher for 14 years. And so this is starting my third year as a music teacher. So I didn't know that I could, in North Dakota, I didn't know that my certification worked here for me to teach music. I only have a minor in music from my college in Kentucky. In Kentucky, the minor doesn't work. So here, that opened me up to be able to teach music, and it's changed like my life. I'm just full of joy now.
Oh, so cool to hear. Did you ever consider doing something with your music minor? Because I was in the same situation. Like, my major is not in music. I got my minor in music, but after college, I was like, I really want to give back and do music. So did you ever consider doing anything in music?
No, not doing anything in music, as far as community, other than I'd thought about being in a band, or I would sing sometimes, at different events and stuff. But no, I was a songwriter, so I went to Nashville a lot and, would write with people, and that was my goal, but it wasn't a giving back kind of goal. My kids were young, and so I never thought I could give piano lessons or anything like that at that point. Is it just full-time mom all the time? So at this point, I feel like I have enough of me left at the end of the day to be able to give more.
What made you incorporate songwriting into your classes to teach your students?
Well, I think it's because it's so natural for me. My first day as a music teacher, I got out the textbooks that they had, and I was playing some of the music in there and singing it with them, and it lacked, and I have a big personality, so I was trying to make up for things with big personality and stuff. But then I got my guitar out, and I'm not actually a very good guitarist, but with the guitar, you've got mobility in the room. So I was kind of walking around, and I was just trying to learn all their names. And so I was like, well, let's just be silly, and I'll try to rhyme your name, first word association. So then I would create a small narrative of 3 or 4 names together, Anyway, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. I had them eating out of the palm of my hand. They were so happy. So I was like, oh, okay, you guys writing little songs, huh? And so then I was like, well, we should do more of that. Why not? That's where music is the best anyway, when we're creative and we're actually kind of working backward. You don't know any of the things that we're doing yet, but we'll do them and then maybe try to explain them. Can you find a rhythm in this or something like that as we went? So that's why. So I started rhyming their names. They loved it. And I was like, we'll give you more of that. And I'm a songwriter naturally. That's just what I do. So it was really a lot of fun for me too, to kind of give them that. Kids are so creative. They love to storytell.
I've seen some of the stuff they've written about, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so cool. They just come up with ideas, or something happens in their day. I think some kid got braces or something that. And you create something about that. And I think that's so sweet, incorporating things that are happening around them with the music that they're learning. So that's so
cool. There was a girl one day who went to the dentist, and she was like, I'm scared. Can we write a song about going to the dentist? And I'm like, yes, we can.
That's so cute. How do you approach it? Because I'm assuming you teach different grades. Right? So how do you approach it depending on their age level?
With little kids, I might let them continue to share ideas that are unrelated, and they don't know that they're not helping because we've kind of selected something we're going with. They can still shout out whatever and feel like they are part of it. And bigger kids, I might actually help them hone in on that idea more, because that's more important to them as far as becoming little writers and things like that. narrow and focused. So, I mean, things like that, how many words I might add if I do a verse or a chorus, how long the song itself might be. With the third grade and up, I might do like actual verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. With little kids, maybe just chorus.
Have you seen it like helped with their like music education? Because I noticed you incorporate a lot of like technical things like rhythm, like you make sure they understand the rhythm. And I think I saw you do one with like little kids with intervals, just like a couple pitches or so. Like, how have you seen it help, I guess, that?
Well, so I follow the curriculum that we do, and there are certain intervals with little kids that we really focus on. And so when I write them a song, I stay mindful of those intervals, because when I write songs with students, they don't really do much of the writing. They throw a lot of the ideas out, but then I'll grab one, and they don't usually ever come up with melody or anything. So I've got the freedom. If you want to write about puppies and we're learning soul me, then I'm going to do a song about puppies with some of your cute little ideas, but I'm going to use what I need to teach you anyway. And then when we start backwards, we're starting with synthesis there, but then they don't truly understand it. So then we'll break it and then build back up to there with like, okay, can you find this pitch? And so trying to be intentional. Like one of my favorite songs that I sing with kids is a song they wanted me to write about folding shirts we call it the laundry song. I don't know if you've heard this, but you've got to watch it. We have a whole thing. They fold a shirt in the bridge. We slow the song down. It's a great lesson on changing tempo, changing dynamics. Anyway, I can fold my L-A-U-N-D-R-Y. That is sol, mi, and la, I think. And maybe it goes down to do too. So pitches that we were working on. So then they had no idea, even though we had been doing the learning, until they knew the song. Then I was like, do you recognize these pitches? And they were like, what? So I try to be really intentional. Sometimes I'm not. But I always think like, if we're doing this, I want to be able to deconstruct it to help them understand what they're doing. So, a lot of times I'll write a song with a simpler rhythm. Like I'll make sure the melody is simple enough for them to get. Or with like fifth graders trying to teach dotted rhythms, I'll write a song that's syncopated. I wrote a song called the Syncopation Song, actually, and the song itself is syncopated, and there are little motions and things to do to try to just to try to help them understand. So since I'm kind of at the helm, I make a lot of choices that make teaching easier for me when we can use what they know and love. Because, buy-in is everything, rigor and relevance. And if the music is relevant to them and they know it in and out, then you're taking a step away from, or you're taking like a piece of the intimidation away so they actually have better access to the piece and are more willing to dig in.
So true. It's like the willingness, and like if they already have that connection, especially for like little kids, like if you get that connection with them, then they're more willing to be like, oh, like these are the concepts that relate to like, I've heard this before, like we've done this is our song.
Absolutely, it's theirs. I love that you said our song, because that's it. They own it already. They can't possibly mess up because they own this thing. Like now it's just we're having fun with it. So I have found that to be probably one of the most profound parts of the creative process that I feel like I can bring to kids. I feel like I can teach them better because they own a lot of what we do. It's not that day one going in with a textbook like, okay, let's sing about kids all around the world. It's like, no, we wrote this song about kids all around the world. Like, because we did, we can tap out a rhythm. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, you need to find 4 beats of a rhythm with the bigger kids, maybe 4 beats of a rhythm in a song. One measure. Let's start with Happy Friday. Like, I want to see you trying to tap, clap, snap, something, try to figure that out. And then, put our heads together and come up with it. And it's really cool for them to see it like on a staff. Like, what?
No, that's just really awesome what you're doing with the kids. Like, and being able to like take ownership of their songs and, having fun with it too, making them about their lives, something that's relevant. And then it's like also educational, but they like don't realize it, but then they do.
They do when they do, but they don't most of the time. It's like, we're not even doing class today. We're writing a song about putting shoes on.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of teaching is being like sneaky.
Yeah.
Manipulative in a bad way, but just like you gotta be a little sneaky.
Absolutely.
To like get them to have fun and
absolutely.
Yeah. Do other teachers or like the school board, I don't know, but like do they know what you do, and have other teachers been like curious about your class, or has it mostly just been you?
It's just been me. I mean, the teachers in my building are very supportive. And I know that people all over the district likely watch me on TikTok, or, you know, my Instagram is public and my Facebook, Instagram story is public, so they can watch whatever they want. But I've not had any like negative reactions or overly like eager positive reactions kind of thing from people. I think people just respect that this is my thing, and I respect that, you know, this is just something I can do, and everybody kind of teaches differently, and there's not been a real hubbub. Nope.
That's good. Oh,
yeah.
So glad to hear that, because I wasn't sure, but I'm like, what you're doing, it's working. I've seen it. So, and it's inspired my teaching too a lot. So.
Oh, I love that. That makes me feel excellent.
Yeah. Like, what would you say is like your overall teaching philosophy? Now, I know it's only been just a couple years, but
yeah. Well, I would say my philosophy has never changed. It doesn't matter what I teach. So my philosophy is still the same. If you engage kids, if you engage them and you meet them where they are, then they will learn at high levels. And so engagement is everything, whether you're reading a book or whether you're creating music, and creativity is a large part of engagement. Engagement is everything to me. And the ways that every teacher can uniquely offer engagement, I think, is going to look very different, you know? I was engaged in a lot of my classes, and nobody ever, other than my mom, you know, who was my teacher and had a piano in her first grade classroom. But like the engagement, you can engage in a lot of ways. And so engaging students in music with the gifts that I have has looked a lot different than it did as a high school English teacher, you know, but it's still my focus.
I mean, that's the root of everything, is just having them engage in some way so that they can accept the material.
Engagement, and there's a whole bunch of pieces that go into engagement, but I would say equally important is relationship building. Build relationships and engage them, and you can teach them anything with a happy audience.
That's a great addition. Like, that's something that we talk about too, like in our academy, is like building the relationships with your students, and because it comes down to trust at the end of the day. And if they don't listen to you.
Well, sure, absolutely. You know, it's like when you ask a question, let's say, all right, can you find one measure of rhythm here, 4 beats of rhythm here? Like, you got to trust that I'm not going to embarrass you if you're wrong. You have to trust that I'm going to help you if you need it. You have to trust that nobody's going to laugh because we don't have that kind of environment in here. You know, I'm getting chills because like trust is everything. So when you can build those relationships, and when you're happy and you're positive and you're engaging, and kids like being in the room and they like you, and they know you've got them, and you know they've got you. Like, if I give you the look, that means we're out of control. Like, let's bring it back. You know what I mean? Like, that trust is such an important element. I'm glad you said that.
And I see it through your classroom. Like, it shines through in your TikTok.
Thank you.
They respect you, and it seems like they have a great time, and they're very engaged. So it's just so amazing to see like that kind of environment like come through in your videos.
Thank you.
And I guess my last question is just a fun one, but like, what has been your most favorite or memorable song that you've made with your kiddos?
Oh, okay. So my favorite, most memorable, gosh, I've got so many. So many. I would have to say my teacher's Christmas Wish song. I don't know if you've heard that. It's one of the first ones that went viral. It's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. I actually took students into the recording studio with me. So Teacher's Christmas Wish is a song I wrote in December of, I think, 21. It was my first year as a music teacher. And my heart was just breaking because so many students like just didn't want to go home for a big break. They eat better at school. Some of them are loved out loud at school and they're not at home. Some of them are mistreated, you know, all the gamut that you deal with. So I wrote this song called Teacher's Christmas Wish. And really it's just about when we send you off for the holidays, we hope that you get showered with presents. But at least we want you to get hugs and love, gentle hands and voices. And we hope you feel safe and warm and that you get your bellies full. But if you don't, just hold on because you're going to be right back here to us. And that song, like when I started, I wrote it very quickly, presented it to my students and they loved it. And there's an echo part. So we hope you get hugs. And then they say hugs. And it's just a song that really like was written straight off of the heart. There was very little songwriting process off it. It just was feelings from the heart. And then I ended up taking a handful of students into the recording studio with me to record it. And I have the story on that on my Instagram. But you can find it, Teacher's Christmas Wish, anywhere you can stream music. I think that is my proudest best song that I've got.
It's really powerful. Like, it makes me like emotional, like thinking about it. It's like, I feel like as a kid, like immediately I would never think of school as being like a safe place, but for some kids, like it really is. And like,
I didn't think about that either, because as a former high school teacher, there's a resiliency in big kids. Big kids know how to run away. Big kids can fight back if they need to. Big kids know how to go to a food bank or go to school, to a backpack club. Big kids just have street smarts. And so there would be times as a high school teacher that I would truly worry about a kid, but you can hook that kid up with resources. They know how to call the police. Little kids, like, this was my first ever winter looking at some of these little kids going like, what? Some kids don't want to go home. They're acting out because they're worried about home. They don't want to go home for a break. Like, so that it was like, wow, like the innocence of some of these little ones that don't have the ability, to advocate and fend for themselves like some of the bigger kids I've taught. That's what did it for me. Just processing heartbreak. Like, you want to take them all home. You want to take care of them. You want to feed them all those things that elementary teachers have been dealing with long before I hit the scenes, and I was just able to put it into words that we all feel. And I think that's another reason that song is probably my best. I think it just transcends being creative. It transcends being a music teacher. This is just the heart, not just of teachers, social workers, cops, anybody who is working with kids, who knows the reality and has to say, yeah, you have to go home. I can't take you home.
Like a comforting element to that song. Like, you wrote it with your kids. They can take that with them into the holidays, and it's it'll be safe. Like, they have the song, and like
they have it. I wrote it for them. I haven't really written too much with them. Sometimes I get like, they're the inspiration for a lot of things I write. That one is for sure one that I wrote like for them. I don't even know. Some of the ones I wrote with them, that St. Patrick's Day Puppy would be one that I wrote with them. There was there have been quite a few, like the Rare Fruit song is my other big favorite. And I wouldn't say that I wrote it with them, but I had a student who said, I want you to write a song about rare fruits, and I need this song to include this fruit, this fruit, this fruit, this fruit. Like, he gave me a list, and basically it was like a challenge song. Like, all right, buddy, I'm going to try to write you a song with all the fruits you want in it. And that there was a lot of ownership there, even though like he just gave me a list of fruits to talk about. But so it looks, there's a huge range of what it actually looks like to write in the classroom. But
amazing to hear like you guys touch on all these different things and how they contribute and how you use your like gifts and talents to like, not only educate these kids, but like have them, like let them have fun and enjoy music, like the soul, the heart of music. So
yeah,
thank you for everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel seen, and like I'm honored. I'm just honored.
All right, so that was our episode today. Thank you so much for joining, and it was so great hearing from our guest. Catch me on the next episode for the PianoTales podcast, and until then, keep on creating.